All right, the nation is at a strategic turning point after decades of war. That's how Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta set the stage today at a Pentagon briefing about the defense budget.
Panetta says the Defense Department plans to trim $259 billion over the next 5 years. Cuts to defense spending are always a concern here in Hampton Roads. 10 Your Side's Art Kahn joins us now to help assess the potential impact on our region. Art?
Well, you know, things could be much worse. The truth is there are more positive takeaways from the Defense Secretary's remarks than negatives. However, before we start celebrating, there are two things we have to consider when assessing the impact of this first round of cuts. First is the impact on TRICARE or health care benefits for veterans. And secondly, judging the cumulative effects of the reductions that will occur to the fleet in Norfolk over the next 5 years.
Make no mistake, the savings that we are proposing will impact on all 50 states.
Perhaps one of the most striking impacts the new defense budget will have for veterans, not only in Hampton Roads, but across the nation, is on the cost of health care.
To help control the growth of health care costs, which is now almost $50 billion in this department, we are recommending increases in health care fees, co-pays, and deductibles for retirees.
Specifically, the DOD will be increasing and adding new enrollment fees for retirees under age 65 in the TRICARE program, using a tiered approach based on retired pay. Senior grade retirees would pay more, junior grade less. Establishing a new enrollment fee for the TRICARE for Life program for retirees 65 and older, again using a tiered approach. There will also be increases in pharmacy co-pays. Asset-wise, there is a likelihood that the Norfolk fleet will see some small reductions. The plan calls for retiring 7 cruisers early, 6 of which lack ballistic missile defense capability. How many of those will come from Norfolk? The DOD will also retire 2 smaller amphibious ships, or LSD. One or both could come from this region. Although this sounds like relatively small cuts over time, they will have a trickle-down effect on the local economy, affecting everything from schools to small businesses. But there is also the potential for good news to local industry.
A critical part of our ability to mobilize is a healthy industrial base. Maintaining the vitality of the industrial base and avoiding imposing unacceptable costs or risks.
That could be good news for Newport News Shipbuilding, especially since the DOD expressed a commitment to upgrading and maintaining the Virginia-class submarine program, some of which are built at Newport News. Now, the biggest concern many members of the Hampton Roads congressional delegation have about the news out of Washington today was the Defense Secretary's announcement that they would return to the BRAC process for base closures. I'm not sure how much that will affect us in this region or what would be targeted here, but it certainly could be an issue statewide, and it is certainly a concern across the nation. But the Defense Department, hey, they've got to cut almost $500 billion over the next decade. Sacrifices will be made. Art Kahn, 10.